I need to ask you a question, which appears simple, but it can totally change the way you view your own story. Have you noticed if there is a letter A as drawn by the lines on your palm? It's no joke. I'm talking about in that letter, that is, when you look at it quickly, it seems to only be an intersection of any. But then when you look at it slow, it appears to be right in the middle of the hand, as if it had been signed. A note of quiet in the place, the most obvious of the body. And do you know what's more awkward? The majority of the people of this symbol on your hand, and you never notice it. They spend their entire lives holding on to one's destiny, literally, and you don't notice. I even took me to see it, and when I did, I saw, I don't get to Desver, because the inside of palmistry, what is the study of the ancient of the lines and symbols on hands, on letter A, is a drawing that cute. A lot of people interpret it as a type of brand, on the way, a sign that points to the patterns, levels, choice, and, yes, the warning. Now let me leave you one thing very clear. I'm not here to tell you that this is one sentence, and that it's going to happen to this or that, and you're done. I'm going to talk to you like I would talk to someone I love in the truth that, as an invitation to look, to get to know you better, to notice patterns, and to be more aware of their decision-making. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that life gives the signs and the times they appear in the most unlikely places. Then call it like this. Breathe in me and you until the end, because in the course of this video, I am going to show you how can you identify this font is in the palm of the right way without confusion. The traditions of Freemasonry tend to associate with the token. Why is it that some people consider it a wake-up call, and not just as a gift? And most importantly, what to look out for is, urgent, it is not in your hand, but for your life. Now, before I have to be guided by this insight, I'm going to ask you two really fast, and I'm asking this because it helps other people to keep bringing this kind of content. Subscribe to the channel right now, because I'm going to bring you more of the following symbols on the hand, and the other signals are curious to what a lot of us ignore, and what you think. And share this video with someone you care about, because I'm pretty sure that this person is going to look out for their own palm now, and he was able to how have I never seen this before? Shut down, and then it comes to me. I know, the word Freemasonry, that sounds like something in the distant, mysterious, or even something from another time. But when I did it, it was a lot easier. Palmistry is basically just a set of traditions that they observe the lines, mounds, shapes, and symbols on your hands, and try to interpret it as a language, a way to reflect on the personalities, trends, and cycles of life. And I say traditions in the plural form because it appears in many cultures, the accounts linked to India, China, Greece, and Rome. In each place in their own way, in their reading and their names. The thing in common is this: their hand have always been seen as a roadmap. And why are symbols that matter to you so much? Because in the reading of the traditional lines, and they are not just risquinhos, when they cross each other in a way that the particular form, lyrics, triangles, cross stars, bars the islands, and in other ways as well. And these are the drawings that are treated as a marker of significance, as if they were cards on the way, saying, look at that, he said watch this, and is this part of your life asks of consciousness? I like to think so. The main feature is a long story. The symbols are the words in bold type, and it is for this reason that the letter is to call attention to it, because it is simple, straightforward, and when it is certinha, it seems purposeful, almost as if the hand is trying to show you something so obvious. It's just that you have ever stopped to look at you with a calm that is required. And so I ask you, how many of the important things you've lost in your life, don't because you weren't there, but that's because you did not meet? Right now, I'm going to be a good teacher to you, because this is where a lot of people get confused, and it has already come out and say, I got it, or I can't. Not sure. The letter Efo. In reading people's Republic of Freemasonry tends to arise when 2 or 3 of the main lines cross each other and create a picture that looks like an uppercase A, the kind that, well, of course, 2 legs and a dash in the middle. I would recommend you to see, in his mind, this is, take a look at the 2-legged tie. There are people that you see on the right, there are people that you see on the left side. You have people that you see at the both of them. in some traditions, in a hand of about the trends in the internal and on the other, as it is manifest in the world. But you don't need complicated right now, just to look at. Don't limit yourself to the perfection. Doesn't need to be a high school, which is designed with a ruler. At times, it is one of the most twisted, the most open, the most subtle. Search for dash in the middle. What is the difference between a triangle is a mess of the A is the one trait that runs through the inside, as close to the symbol. Look at the center of the palm. A lot of people will find the design in the middle of the hand, where the lines are more likely to come across. And here I want to introduce the micro-important. In our mind, love to complete the patterns. You know, when you look at the clouds and you see the faces. So, for this reason, I like to think of this symbol as a stamp of a definitive, but rather as an invitation. If you see something like that, it is worth to think about the things that I'm going to have to tell you, and you realize that it fits into the truth in your life. Because in the end, the question is not just, I have the letter A. So the question is, what in my life is begging for attention right now? Within the common interpretation of Freemasonry, the letter is often linked to the three key ideas, for a start and a new beginning. A is the first letter of the English alphabet. This, however, leads to the beginning of drive, leadership, and the doors opened. People with this symbol, the times reported, which live in cycles of a reset, when you think it's over, and they begin the stronger for it. 2. The purpose and mission of the staff. There is a reading of a very wide spread, which says, who has such a dialed tend to feel at some point you have not come to life only to pass the time. It's like a hiccup internal. I've got something to do. 3. And that intuition and perception and is out of the ordinary, not in the sense of superpower, but in order to capture the things that the others do not know him, to understand the climate, the energy, the people, the patterns of repeated signs of change. And now we come to the point, matter of urgency that I love. If you see one of them on the palm, a lot of reading traditional, I would say that you need to look at a detail in your life. Are you leading your life or are you going to push through it? Because to speak of the beginning of the command of your choice. And sometimes the person you have in this world leader, but lives on as a bystander, and let life decide for it all. And this will lead to frustration. It creates fatigue. It creates that feeling of, it's missing something, even when everything seems to be right out. Now I want to get into it in a way that was straightforward. Tell me in the comments, do you have a line, forming a triangle, or a drawing of the great turning point in his hand? If you do, he wrote, I have a carriage, and it describes a more or less where it appears to be. And if you're not sure, he says again, I don't know, but I'm going to see it, because I have read it, and I bring you the ideas for the next video. Right now, I'll tell you one thing that almost no one talks about when it comes to that topic. A symbol that looks like the special can also be a cause for alarm. In many ways, not just, you're amazing, congratulations. It may also indicate that you are going to face in making the great. You have a tendency to carry the responsibility to other people. You may feel pressure for get it right. And if you're not already aware, you will fall in a repetitive loop. On and on the cycle, the most common is this one. You feel like you were born for something greater. But that day, then if you get frustrated, then you try to please everyone. So if you lose them, there's a fault. Then again, and again. This is a very human level. I've seen it in myself, and a lot of people. The urgency of the matter here is to look out for. Are you put off making important decisions for fear of making a mistake? Because it is not in control. And I think that this is to avoid the pain. But that's not it. Just life. The price of the foregoing is silent. It steals time, energy, and confidence. So, if you have this or something like it, use it as a mirror. What are you putting off that you know that you need to face? The conversation is with you. And sometimes that's more important conversation of your life. Right now, I'm going to bring you some of the features of the common folk tend to associate with the logo. And as long as I am talking to you, you will be doing the checking of mind. It makes sense to me or not. A. Emotional intensity. It is not drama. This is deep. Anyone who is a heavy feel on the things of the world, and at times tired feeling too much. 2 of responsibility early. A lot of people with this profile, he feels that he has to mature a bit early. Sometimes, out of necessity, sometimes because of the environment, at times, to be a pillar of the house. 3, and auto-discharge. The person in charge of you who do not charge you for anyone else. Make up intuition and razor sharp. They do know when something is not okay, even without the evidence. And a lot of times, if you go out when it drops this way, the 5 phase of new beginnings. She's face of the key, not necessarily the drama, but it's deep, as if the life had called her to change course. And then, I will ask you one thing, a very sincere. Do you trust yourself? Because if there's one thing that kills someone on the inside, it has potential, and not to believe in him. And no, I'm not talking about the positive toxic. I'm talking about having the courage to minimal to say, I'm going to try it. Anyone who has the token, many of the readings, they say that you need to learn the skill stop asking for permission to exist. Now, let's make it even more interesting. Because it is the position of the symbol and can be changed in the focus is the interpretation of it. If A appears to be more closely in the region of the line of life, next to the thumb, the more the down, some of the readings say that the person has the power of resistance, the processing connected to the survivor, the family, the basis for, and it's a call to take care of your body and to your routine because it tends to take it all until they burst. If you get closer to the line of thought in the middle of the palm, it is often associated with practical intelligence, the ability to learn fast, and a warning, a mind can face imprisonment if you think about it too much, and to act in the least. If you get closer to the line of the heart, above near the fingers, and the readings of the popular linking in the intensity of affection, love the deep, and it's a challenge to you. Don't let me keep anyone else. And right now, I'm going to talk to you, seriously, just as directly as possible. If you're enjoying this video and want a full series about the symbols on the hand, with examples, the meaning, and how to use it as a tool of self-discovery, if you sign up now. Because if you don't sign up, you are going to watch one video today, forget about tomorrow, and you continue to ignore the signs that might help you understand it in your own life. Sign up, and it gets to me. Because of the close symbol of what I'm going to bring it, can be exactly what you have in your hand, and never even realize it. I don't like to sell you a fantasy. So, I'm going to give you a part of in real life, even at the interpretations and symbolic. Not all of it is a gift. Sometimes it is a learning experience. To read, Test of Courage. He is going to test your ability to initiate things. Proof of identity. Because you'll be tempted to try to live your life for other people. The proof of the limit, because you can turn to the Savior for the whole world, and if you forget about it. And here is an example of a phrase that I repeat to myself when I realize I'm carrying the world on. I love people who abandon me. This symbol speaks of the lead, then the learning process is this. Lead is also to say no. Also lead is the pick for you. The lead is also a stop to explain, for those who don't want to know. And this is a big shock, I know. But it's liberating. Now, if you look at all of this and you're like, okay, but what do you do with that information? I'm going to give you a simple way, to a novice, as applicable. A. Trains in the note. Once a week, and I want you to ask yourself, I'm avoiding you. I'm repeating it. Where am I in love? 2 trains a decision on the small table. You don't need to decide your whole life to you today. He decides on a thing that small habit to talk to you. There is a limit. 3. By train, confidence in the way. When your intuition tells you to talk to, he is not unaware of your face. Notes. Notes. Compared to the fact then. Over time, you will learn the difference between intuition and anxiety. Up to 4, trains a fresh start without the guilt. Starting over is not likely to fail. Start over is mature. And now, I want to pull into the conversation again. Comment here if you have a format that is clear in the lines of your hand letter, star, triangle, cross, something that looks like the drawing. He writes, in my hand seems like a, and he describes it. I want to use it in the comments to the map in which the symbols appear to the most, and bring you videos on a specific topic. I have seen many people who, when he found a potent symbol of the hand, and went for a sort of wake-up, Not a mystic, but that's psychological. With a click of one's self-awareness. I give you an example of the common good. A person who has always felt the loading world, being the strong, is always at hand, always holding on to wave in. When she sees, she interprets this as, may I have this urge of leadership, but I need to lead my life, not the lives of others. And that the change of the phrase can change everything. The other story is common. People who feel they live restart the replacement of the school of friendship and of the objectives of the stage, and to think that this is the instability. Then, when she believes in the symbol as the energy of the beginning, as it turned out, it may not be in an unstable state. It may be that it is adaptable. It may be that it is someone who is born to build for multiple versions of each other. And so the question is, you can see if a judge for being who you are. Because sometimes what do you mean by default? It is only the power that you have not yet learned how to use it. I'm going to go back to the main point of the subject. There is one thing that you need to see in emergency. And I'll tell you what it is. It's way more honest as possible. Watch where you're decreasing to fit in small places. Watch where you're accepting a crumb out of fear of being alone. Watch where you're going to stop in your truth to avoid the conflict. Watch where you're waiting for permission. Because for a lot of interpretation, and this is symbol of the speech, you have come to the US to start, to open the way, to be a leader. And if you are living and asking for an excuse to exist, then it becomes an internal conflict. And for the body, feeling, mind, feeling, and the heart. Right now, I want to ask you something that only you can answer this one. In the comments, tell me, do you feel that the lines on the hand to form a symbol? And most importantly, do you feel that you're living your life in your own way, or the way that it is expected of you? Write just, I'm living out of my way, or I'm living on automatic. I want to understand you. Right now, a part of the much needed care so I don't turn a symbol into a sentence. Myth. If I do, I have a letter to you. I'm required to be a leader. Fact. The symbol on the maximum, that is, a lens is used. You will still be free. Myth. If I'm not, so I don't have a purpose. The truth. The purpose you don't live in one hand. Purpose to live with the choices. The myth. It can predict the future. The truth. It can serve as a reflection. But in the future, it is built in. And it will change. The problem is that the person who uses it to the limit, oh, so I'm just like that. No. You are in the building. If you have something beautiful in the idea of the look of the palm, it's to remind you that you can't carry your story in your own hands. And it's not a prison. The story is in stock. You can write a different one. I'm going to do something so simple and healthy to deal with it, without being too loud. Look at it with curiosity, not fear. If you get scared, you see a threat at all. Choose one question at a time. At the time, what's going to happen to me? Question. What do I need to add anything else? What's the pattern I repeat it? What's the decision I'm leaving? Use this as a rite of self-discovery. Once a month, and you can watch the hand and is a reflection on the rapid. Ready to go. No other methods. If something very heavy, back to the basics. Breathe in. If a believer, it reminds you that you are in control of the choices you make. And this is where I tell you one thing that I wish someone had told me early on. A symbol is not the boss of you, but it can wake you up. Right now, I'm going to give it a quick test, which is more than any of the drawing in her hand. Because of this test, look at your life. Answers in your minds. A. What is the decision? And I know what I need to do, but I'm leaving. It was an answer in your head right now. It's this one. The 2. Where I'm being too strong to ask for help for anything less. Because leadership is lacking, the support turns into the weight. 3. If I could start again a thing today, what would it be? This is the A of his beginnings. And now, I want you to take part in a way that's pretty simple. Comment here if you have a font format in its hand, and it also answers one of the questions above. It's the way that you feel comfortable with. It may just be, I'm off to such a thing, or do I need to start this thing? I can promise you that you're not alone in this. Right now, I'm going to finish this video in the way that it is more than worth it. And I want you to leave here with a sense. You haven't watched this, by the way. You may not believe it 100% to a reading of his hand. That's okay. But if this content made you stop, to look, to think, and then he has played an important role. So, I'm going to ask you, with all your strength, subscribe to the channel right now, because if you liked this theme, you are going to love these next few symbols, which I'm going to bring it, and I want you with me on this journey of self-discovery. Leave your like, because this is a video to reach more people. You also are in need of a wake-up today. Share this video with a friend, a family member, anybody you feel that you're living on autopilot. Sometimes, a movie just had to jerk it. The person I needed to look out for each other. And comments below. You have found the letter on their palm? Which hand? And now the question is that I want to read it in other threads, the letters or shapes you have at hand. Type. You have a right triangle, a cross, a star, a different font. What's more, you have a similar one on a different part of the body, such as the marks, dots, symbols, or drawings of nature has always attracted his attention. I'm asking this because it may turn into a series as a whole, and I want to build in the next video based on what you have on hand and you are carrying on your body. At the end of the day, I believe in a thing, and that life speaks to us all the time. The question is, do you see how? See you in the next one. And to remember, he observes his palm, but it is observed mainly in his life.